Let's hear H. Kwasi Prempeh presenting a spirited defense of the memorandum of the 18 scholars led by Akoto Ampao. That memorandum is standing against the private members' bill in Parliament relating to LGBT. The bill is seeking to circumscribe the LGBT activity and properly criminalize it. Here's Kwasi Prempeh against the bill.
Again, much has been made of the idea, and it has been it's LGBT persons, again, as if they were the ones proposing this, have been called upon to show us where in the Constitution you have this right. Because if you can't show us, then we will trample on it however many times we want to. The rhetorical response is, show us in the Constitution where you have a right to have heterosexual sex, or the right to have sex at all, or the right to sleep. Do you have the right? Because you can't show us in the Constitution, because I can't show you that I have a right to sleep, an inherent human thing to do, are you suggesting to me that I do not have a right to sleep? Is that a suggestion? That if you cannot find in a constitution, as if a constitution was a code, even in the most detailed French codes, you're not going to find that, right? Constitutions are not written as codes. They state general principles. That is why you have that provision in 33(5) that tells you that the fact that certain rights and freedoms have not been mentioned is not to negate their existence, where they are inherent to your being as a person. And sex, the right to have private, consensual, adult sex, is as fundamental and inherent a right as any. And that is the right that is trampled upon here. If you want to name that right, it is that right that you have, that I have, that every heterosexual person has. That is the right that is being trampled upon here in this Constitution, in this bill, as respect only to LGBT persons. And on what grounds? Unnatural? Obviously not, because you remain free, I remain free to do those unnatural things. And that unnaturalness is supposed to also be the menace for all of this talk about HIV and the like, right? Because you go around the media, they've even coined a word for it. The whole bill has gotten lost. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, they call it Trumu. The Trumu bill. They called us all the Trumu professors and others, right? So is that, if it is about that, if the menace is the act, and what organ of the body you are using to get into what other organ of the body, then it's just difficult for me to understand why it would be applied only as to same-sex persons or LGBT persons, if it is the source of this peculiar menace that you say we are trying to kill. The parade of horribles that have been used to drive this bill are things that I'm not familiar with as a Ghanaian living in Ghana. Sometimes I wonder if the Parliament of Ghana is supposed to make law for Ghana or supposed to make law for some other place. But the Parliament of Ghana is supposed to cure mischiefs that threaten this society, that are present and that we have to worry about. So all this conversation about procreation, where is it coming from? Are we saying that the state can then burden individual citizens with the obligation to make children? What about those who just choose to abstain, who don't want to have kids, who just want to have one? Maybe optimally 5 is what will sustain the species. What if they just want to have 1 or 0? The state now has power to commandeer our bodies to have children so that your species will be replicated. Where is that power coming from? Where does the state derive that power? Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, due to the constraint of time, I think I will bring my remarks to a close. But to reiterate this point, that this is the road down to totalitarianism. This is a very dangerous road. Populism driving the road to totalitarianism is going to turn this place into a vigilante society, a police state, were not just the persons that the bill is directly aimed at, but allies, me, CDD, we're allies. All manner of persons. And if you give support, sponsorship, procreate, what is this? Where is it coming from? Russia? Where's it coming from? Where is this coming from? This is very un-Ghanaian. There's nothing
Thank you very
Ghanaian about
much.
this bill.